In question 4, R denotes a reflection in the x-axis and the transformation T denotes a translation of vector 3 minus 1. In part A, we have to find the equation y equals to g of x of the curve with the equation y equals to x square after it has been transformed by the sequence of transformations R followed by T. Now, let's say if we have an equation of the form y equals to f of x and there's a reflection in the x direction. So let's say if we have a reflection in the x-axis. So after reflection, this equation is written as negative f of x. And if we have a translation, so let's say we have a equation y equals to f of x, and there's a translation, and the translation vector is given as a and b. So the function f of x will now be written as f of x minus a. This represents a translation of positive a units in the x direction, and plus b represents a translation in the y direction. So in our equation, the original equation is y equals to x squared. As the first transformation is r, which is a reflection, so which is a reflection in the x-axis. So this whole equation will multiply by a minus sign, and this will become minus x squared. In the second step, after the reflection minus the equation of y equals to minus x squared, it will be translated, and the vector is, so the translation vector is given as 3 and minus 1. So this equation will be written as y is equals to minus x minus 3, which represents a translation of 3 units in the x direction, and minus 1. So this represents a translation of minus 1 in the y direction. So the final equation will be y equals to minus bracket x minus 3 whole squared minus 1. In part B, it says find the equation h of x of the curve with the equation y equals to x square after it has been transformed by the sequence of transformation t followed by r. Now, as in this case, the first transformation is a translation. So after a translation, this will be written as y is equals to x minus 3 whole squared minus 1. And it is followed by r, which is a reflection in the x-axis. So the equation now is y is equals to x minus 3 whole squared minus 1. So in the first step, there was a translation with vector 3 and minus 1. And after the translation, there will be a reflection, and the reflection is in the x-axis. So we'll multiply the whole equation by a negative sign. So this will become minus x minus 3 whole squared, and this will become a plus 1. In part C, it says that state fully the transformation that maps the curve y equals to g of x. Now in part A, the final equation that we got was y equals to minus x minus 3 whole squared minus 1, which was basically g of x. So we can write that g of x is equals to minus x minus 3 whole squared minus 1. And it is transformed onto the curve y equals to h of x. So in part B, the equation that we found out was basically h of x. So h of x is minus x minus 3 whole squared minus 1. So we have to find the transformation that will map g onto h. Now we can see that over here, everything is the same. The only difference is, so this was a plus 1 over here. This minus 1 has now become a plus 1. Now this basically represents a translation of 2 units in the x direction, as everything else is the same. So we'll say that from g of x to h of x, there will be a translation, and there's no translation in the x direction, so the vector will be 0 and positive 2 units in the y direction. So the final answer we can write as a translation of vector 0 and 2.